Dude, I'm losing my... Is this for real? I already knew that he was inevitably going to become this person, but I'm kind of shocked that his audience would be into it. You know what I mean? It's time. Apparently, my favorite of all time, the worst person, one of the worst people on television, decided to do yet another Nightmare Blunt rotation. Now, of course, it's a Nightmare Blunt rotation. Any rotation that features Bill Maher is automatically a Nightmare Blunt rotation, but this lineup was particularly bad. And it's important because I think old Billy Boy here, old Bilbo, finally coming to he's finally coming out and openly admitting his political, not Bill Burr. This is the other Billy. He's just coming home, you know. This is where he always was, and I'm glad that he's just more open about it, I guess. Mr. I hate the Republicans. Yes, Kerry Hartline, I've already watched this. I've already watched this clip. Bill Maher's transformation is now complete. He went and had dinner with Donald Trump, shocking 0 people. And I mean 0 people. Who here is like, wow, I can't believe Bill Maher is pro-Trump. Yeah. He finally decided, perhaps at Trump's weakest moment of approval and popularity, Mr. Read the Room basically is coming out to be like, I still don't like him, but I like him a lot more than I did before.
He was the White House chief strategist and now hosts the War Room podcast. Steve Bannon, he's global security analyst for Washington Post Intelligence and author of Chaos Under Heaven. Josh Rogan, and he hosts Piers Morgan Uncensored on YouTube. Piers Morgan. All right, here are the questions from the people. What does the panel think about reports that the Trump administration plans to hold a military parade on the 250th anniversary of the Army's founding, which also happens to be Trump's birthday? Oh, goody, tanks in the streets, huh? Is that a good thing, do you think?
I think it's a fantastic thing. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, government efficiency at work, right? That's what we're spending our defense dollars on, is parading a bunch of
It's a way to inspire people, as you know, Josh, young men and women to join the military, to see the pageantry like they do in France with Macron, that great July 14th. Bastille Day.
Was there tanks in the street?
There were tanks. Yeah. They do everything.
Yeah, we do it in the UK all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Tanks in the street.
Yeah.
It's always been surprising to me you don't do it.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un loves it. Kim Jong-un
Russia does it too.
Yeah, Putin, Xi Jinping. Yeah.
Bill, what do you think?
I don't want America to get used to the sight of tanks in the street.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I don't. Because once you see it, it becomes normalized. What's behind the church-going revival in the UK, particularly among Gen Z? Is that true? Or British
if you saw the state of our country right now, there's a lot to go and pray about. Probably nothing more sinister than that.
That's it?
I don't know anything about it. You stumped me on that.
Kids are getting more religious? Is that what's going on?
I don't know. I didn't actually know that was a fact, but
Yeah, why would Bill hate that? Bill probably loves that. Oh, kids are getting more religious. Well, I like it now. I actually decided at least it's Christianity and not Islam.
I mean, church going generally has been going down.
My daughter's too. Her only religion is Bluey.
Thank God I don't have kids. What does the panel think of Jeff Bezos' company Blue Origin sending an all-female crew and Katy Perry and Lauren Sanchez and Gayle King? I know them all, love them all, hope they're all safe. I'm sure they will be to space next week. Is there any scientific merit to this mission? Yes.
No, but you know what? I just think that people that knock any form of exploration. You know, when I was born in '65, first
Classic British mentality. Classic British mindset. When he means exploration, he means colonial exploit. He can't help himself.
thing I can really remember as an existent human being was the excitement around the rockets going up, right? And then it sort of stopped. And you kind of thought, are we going backwards? I mean, exploration, space travel, the bold frontiers.
Katy Perry is not exploring space.
No, I know.
I know, but
I wouldn't go up there, would you? Would you go up there?
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't do it in a million
you
years. So I
kidding?
admire the Bulls.
No.
We should be cheering them on.
No, I'm sure it'll be safe, but it's just, I wouldn't go skydiving either.
No, I agree with you.
And there's just no reason.
Jeff Bezos is my boss, and I support him.
You toadying little crawler.
see.
After all the lectures you gave us
Hey,
earlier.
I wouldn't like to get fired today. I'm not trying to get fired.
That's the trouble, you see. The trouble is, Josh, you get close to them and then
the
it starts
thing
to take over.
Yeah, guess what, America? Guess what, America? We're all part of the same hypocrisy. All right? Including Steve, including myself. We're all.
Keep me out of it.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah.
Too late. You're in it. You're in it.
Josh Rogan is the Washington Post journalist.
You're in it.
Yeah, no we here. I want to ask a question. Mike Huckabee, you remember him?
Yes, sir.
He is now the ambassador to Israel.
Sure.
Mike Huckabee, we've had him on the show. If you don't remember, he was the governor of Arkansas. You know, a very religious man.
Yep.
And I'm sure they're sending him to Israel because he's a great friend of Israel. I have a problem with this. You know why people like that are friends with Israel? Because when you know who comes back.
Right. The Jews have got to rule Earth under hell, right? That's the.
Or they all
idea.
die.
Or they all die. Either way, it's not really a great deal for
Jesus saves 144,000 Jews.
Right.
That's not a lot of
I don't think I'm going to be.
What's the difference between Bill Maher and Mike Huckabee in terms of how they analyze Israel, though? Or in terms of how they look at Israel's enemies? There's not a lot of daylight. There is very little difference. Yeah, very little difference materially between their support for Israel. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't think I'm going to make the cut, to be honest with you. I'm not
that's
very
why
observant.
super duper Christians love Israel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying. And now he's okay. Low flow showers. Trump is.
I'm with Trump on this one. Yeah. No one likes a low flow shower. That's an 80-20 issue. That's good politics as far as I'm concerned.
And daylight savings time.
Now that one I don't like. That one I like it to be light in the evenings.
Yes.
I'm not a morning person. For all the morning
Me
people
too.
out there, forget you.
But
Okay.
but getting rid of it, don't we have more light in the winter?
Yeah, we do.
So that's what we want.
I'm
No,
in
if we get
favor
rid
of
of daylight savings time, it gets dark early.
No. What we do now is when it starts to get dark, we move it the wrong way. And now it's dark at like 4 in the afternoon. It's stupid. That's what he's, I think, trying to get rid of. And the penny.
Yeah. He's right about all these things, I think.
Well, it's just good politics to pick on, taxes on tips, all these little things.
Yeah.
That
It's somewhat of a distraction from the ongoing.
And raise taxes on the wealthy. He said it last week.
Is that coming?
It's coming.
But what
He
about the
said
tax cut for the wealthy? Isn't that coming too?
No. It's going to be extended. He's not going to extend the tax cuts for the wealthy. He's going to no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime.
So you're saying all the donors are about to get a tax hike?
They're already screaming. But he told the Senate that he's open to extending the tax cuts, not extend them.
Open to. So
No. But he's already, I think, and Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, I think, is working on this. Not to extend it to the upper bracket or make a new bracket.
And you think Congress is going to pass that, knowing who they get their money from?
they do whatever he tells them to do.
If President Trump comes in and says to do it, he'll
Okay,
he'll
so
do it.
the Steve Bannon plan is that Republicans are going to abandon the donor class, and then what's going to happen in 2020?
Where else are they going to go? We got total leverage over them. Where else are they going to go?
Well, there's another election coming up.
They're going in the midterms and the thing. But where else are they going to go? If you don't restore the economic viability of the working class and the middle class, and you have to do that by sealing the border, right? So it's not flooded with illegal alien labor. Number 2 is the tariffs to bring manufacturing jobs back. And the third is that working class and middle class people need a tax cut. They need no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and most importantly, no tax on Social Security. That's another $500 billion a year we have to come with. That's why, by the way, it's going to be a huge fight. But the Democrats and progressives had control in 2021. In those first 100 days, and they put up a taxing the billionaires, and it didn't even get out of committee. President Trump and the MAGA movement will raise taxes on the wealthy.
All right, let me ask you
do
another
you believe
question.
that when the tariffs cause huge inflation, that the lower middle class are going to reward the Republicans for that? When all the prices go up? Because in 1890, when we had tariffs, the Republicans lost the House and the presidency because of the
You should know this, Josh, better than anybody, because when we raised the tariffs on China in 18, prices came down. We didn't have any inflation in 19, and we had the highest tariff we ever put on China.
Hey, how about that dire wolf?
Isn't this supposed to be a show where people debate? They duke it out. Why is he defending Steve Bannon? Why are people clapping for Steve Bannon? Is this the state of resistance liberalism in America now? Clapping for Steve Bannon? What an incredible situation that is unfolded in front of our eyes, dude. I mean, I guess he said he'll raise taxes for the rich. I guess that's what it is. We're clapping for Steve Bannon when he lies now.
We brought back the dire wolf. They brought back a species called the...
It's not even a real thing. They didn't really bring it back. They just like genetically modified. They got GMO wolves now, dude. That's what they did. Everything sucks.
The dire wolf that was extinct using DNA they had in a fossil.
What could go wrong?
I mean, it's just... I don't know. I mean, I can't...
Yeah, they're going to do the woolly mammoth next, you know. I think they made a movie about this.
Don't knock it until they... In 100 years, they bring back Bill Maher from a fossil.
Yeah.
Think how great that would
No, they made a movie once about, you know, bringing back extinct species and the risk of it. It was called Jurassic Park. Maybe you've all seen it, you know.
I know, but
so
this
maybe
is...
we shouldn't screw with science that much, you know.
But it's not a dinosaur. It's a wolf.
Yeah, but
we know what it looked like.
Yeah.
And Bobby Kennedy says it tastes like chicken. So, all right, that's enough of that. Thank you.
God, that was terrible.
And now for what I know you've all been waiting for, I'd like to give you my book report on my visit to the White House. Okay, as you know, 12 days ago I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute. So, thank you. Okay, so meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different. Spoiler alert, it was. First good sign, before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy.
I'm glad that he was tackling the important issues when he met with Donald Trump.
Fired like a dog. His show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did. Which he did with good humor. And I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a fuck. So...
Dude, he's so brave. He's so brave, dude. Wow, you went to the White House? How brave of you. You went to the White House and the president was nice to you? That's brave, dude. And I'm going to report on it. He's clearly the best of us. Grow up. You're right.
So, no, I didn't go MAGA. And to the president's credit, there was no pressure to. After we left the Oval Office, he showed me the little room off the office, you know, the one where Clinton used to. Okay. The job room. Okay. Well, not anymore. That's where they keep the merch now. It is. And he gave me a bunch of hats, but he didn't ask me to take a picture in one, which I appreciated. The guy I met is not the person who the night.
Wow. He didn't make you take a picture in the hat? God, he's so gracious. I can't tell who's a nicer guy here. Actually, unironically, between Bill Maher and Trump, I really can't tell who's a nicer guy. They're both ginormous pieces of shit.
Night before the dinner, tweeted a bunch of nasty crap about how he thought this dinner was a bad idea and what a deranged asshole I was. I read it and thought, oh, what a lovely way to welcome someone to your house. But when I got there, that guy wasn't living there. Now, does Trump want respect? Of course, who doesn't? My friend said to me, what are you going to wear to the White House? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky, I'll tell you that. But, okay. Just for starters, he laughs. I'd never seen him laugh in public, but he does, including at himself. And it's not fake. Believe me, as a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it. And I thank you for them. No. But, okay, example, in the Oval Office, he...
Dude, Trump laughs? Oh my God. And he laughs at himself? I like that for years and years, this dumb fuck, the only thing that basically positioned him as anything but like the average Republican, because on policies, he was completely locked in, right? But the only thing that positioned him away from the average Republican was his disdain for Trump and like how stupid he thought Republicans were. And now that last tiny hurdle has been cleared for him.
He was showing me the portraits of presidents, and he pointed to Reagan and said, in all seriousness, you know, the best thing about him, his hair. I said, well, there was also that whole bringing down communism thing, waiting for the button next to the Diet Coke button to get pushed and I go through the trap door. But no, he laughed, he got it. I said to him at one point, Mr. President, you know the dog, that's unusual in the White House. He said, well, a lot of the presidents, they had a dog for political reasons. I said, no, people love dogs, that's what that is. Oh yeah. Okay, that's true. I'm telling you what happened. At one point, we were walking through it is an amazing tour of the whole house. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it must have been something with the 2020 election, because I know he used the word lost. And I distinctly remember saying, wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian.
Dude, I'm losing my... Is this for real? Like, I already knew that he was inevitably going to become this person, but I'm kind of shocked that his audience would be into it. You know what I mean? Like, what differentiates Bill Maher at this point from any Republican? What differentiates him from any Republican? I guess the unprecedented access that he has to Donald Trump now puts him in a higher position on the Republican totem pole than the average one. Like, how did you get duped by Trump of all people? Truly shocking how much these previous like resistance liberals who only aesthetically hated Donald Trump have completely dropped even the aesthetics now. But it's especially funny to do it right now, like on the heels of Trump nuking the global economy. I don't give a shit if Trump portrays himself like a madman in public, but he's like much nicer in private. I care about his policies. I care about the things he does, not the things he says. or the way he carries himself. As a matter of fact, I like the way he carries himself. It's the only redeeming quality for Trump. I think it's hilarious. I have the exact opposite perspective that people have to Trump, where I think it's hilarious, where he's just like the most insane person openly in broad daylight. He'll just do shit presidents are not supposed to do. To me, that's the redeeming quality. But he's a zesty man with a penchant for theater.
Taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. Bob, Kid Rock, told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing, people whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine. There were so many moments when I hit him with a joke or contradicted something, and no problem. At dinner, he was asking me about the nuclear situation in Iran in a very genuine, hey, I think you're a smart guy, I want your opinion sort of way. And I said,
bro, oh, it's because Kid Rock was there. At first, I was about to say, why would you ask Bill Maher about Iran? What the does he know about the nuclear situation in Iran? And then I realized Kid Rock is there. And as you guys know, Kid Rock is his czar. Like, he's basically the Iran czar. If you recall from his last administration, he got in trouble for showing Kid Rock the Iran invasion plans. I'm not joking that he did do that, the Iran invasion plans being shown to Kid Rock. I'm joking when I say he's the Iran czar.
Well, obviously you're privy to things about it, I'm not, but for what it's worth, I thought the Obama deal was worth letting play out because we made Iran destroy 98% of the uranium, and they were 15 years away from a bomb. And then I said to him, but we got rid of that. You got rid of that. He didn't get mad or call me a left-wing lunatic. He took it in. I told him I thought parts of his plan for Gaza were wacky, but that I had supported him in
parts of his plans for Gaza. His plans for Gaza is full-blown ethnic cleansing.
And the idea that Gaza could be Dubai instead of hell. I told him he was wrong when he tweeted the night before that I was critical of all things Trump. Not true. Check the tapes. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem, loved it. The border did need to be controlled.
Why? You didn't even find, like, why? You're literally anti-religion your whole career. You didn't even know you were Jewish until later in your life. I never knew he was Jewish. And it doesn't even matter. Like, he literally was Mr. I hate all religions. And what, moving the embassy? Yeah. Bill Maher grew up Catholic. Also, I didn't even, dude, he has such, straightforwardly, he has such like a drunk Catholic asshole vibes. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, I didn't know. I know he was Jewish until like literally last year, or as like Jewish heritage. So there's straightforwardly in his entire life, there's no association with even a little bit of Zionist propaganda. You know what I mean? What do you mean you love when he moved the embassy to Jerusalem?
I'm glad the cops are getting their morale back. DEI had gone too far. Biological men shouldn't be playing women's sports. Europe should pay for their defense. And of course, it makes sense that Arab countries should take in Arab refugees, like the million Syrians who wound up in Germany when Saudi Arabia took none. He said to me, you're right, they took none. I said, well...
It's crazy. Regardless of Bashar al-Assad being a tyrant, we played a role in this. How many refugees do we take? Like, that's crazy. God, I hate him so much. I do like this, though. I will say, I appreciate that he's, like, open. So maybe dumb liberals will no longer try to maintain the vibes of, like, Bill Maher is, like, some kind of liberal still.
Well, you should remind your boyfriend in Saudi Arabia that the next time you see him.
Boom.
He laughed. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump. That's just how it went down. Make of it what you will. Me, I feel it's emblematic of why the Democrats are so unpopular these days. He was even okay when I checked.
Yeah, dude. Rich 100-millionaire asshole felt more comfortable talking to Donald Trump than Clinton. That means nothing. Like, what do you mean? Like, if you're trying to say, also, he didn't say he voted for Harris, which is kind of interesting. He didn't say he voted for Biden either. He said he voted for Obama and Clinton. I'm telling you right now, I mean, he's been a quote unquote centrist for quite some time. He's been a right-wing shithead for a while. I think he's just like slowly leading his audience in that direction as well.
Him on the orangutan lawsuit. He was. He said to Dana White, you know, Bill said my father was an orangutan, and I really love my father. And I said, well, Mr. President, I did that because I didn't like what you were doing regarding Obama's birth origins. I thought that was low. Again, no anger, just a little smile as if to say, yeah, I get it. The most surreal part of the whole night was when I got home. I flew back right after the dinner, and I'm in bed watching 60 Minutes from the night before.
If Trump arrested Bill Maher after that meeting, his approval rating would have gone up. Big mistake. He's lost the juice. I feel like a younger Trump, a more dynamic, more vibrant Trump, wouldn't have missed out on that opportunity. You know what I mean? Yeah, send his ass to CCOT, dude.
And there's Trump in one of their stories, standing at a podium in a room that looked to me like one of the rooms and places we'd just been in. And he's ranting, disgusting, you're a terrible person. And I'm like, who's that guy? What happened to Glinda the Good Witch? And why can't we get the guy I met to be the public guy? And I'm not saying it's our responsibility to do that. It's not. I'm just reporting exactly what I saw over 2.5 hours. I went into the mine, and that's what's down there. A crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person on TV a lot lives there, which I know is fucked up. It's just not as fucked up as I thought it was. And I have no illusions now that
this only matters if you're a very specific Bill Maher style liberal, where the only thing you didn't like about Trump was the optics. Most people hate what he's doing, not how he carries himself is not presidential. I hate this piece of shit.
That I'm back to work at my job, that he might start a new list. Because
yeah,
I don't have
nothing. When you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. And Bill Maher's a perfect demonstration of this. He got duped by Donald Trump, dude. That's how stupid you are. And all it took was for him to be kind of nice to you. I don't give a Donald Trump is sane behind all of the insanity. I don't think Trump is a brilliant 5D chess player that portrays himself. Even Boris Johnson used to do this. Boris Johnson famously would present himself as like a goof, a dumbass. But he did that deliberately. He did that for a purpose. So he could just get away with his dangerous agenda while, you know, making a fool of himself. Donald Trump is not doing that. He is definitely also a dumbass, just like Bush was. Also a real dumbass. But none of this matters. You want to know why? Because when you match Donald Trump's actions, when you look at what he's done, whether he did it deliberately, intentionally, or because he's a doesn't change the impact. As a matter of fact, it's probably worse if he is not oblivious. That means he is, again, a monstrous piece of shit. That's why I said the only people that respond to this in a positive manner are people who don't have an issue with Trump at all, or at least on the policy front don't have an issue with it, but just only care about the optics. And if you're Bill Maher, you're probably surrounded by the only people in America who have this perspective. Other rich California liberals who who want to melt the working poor themselves and want tax cuts. And the only thing they can't stand is how annoying Trump is.
Good feeling, and will be critical about a lot of what he's doing, the trade war and disappearing people, ruling by decree, threatening judges, gutting the government with glee. But I also think he now understands I have a job to do, or at least he did on this night, because he said to me early on that he'd seen our last episode, which was the Friday before this dinner. And he said, I thought maybe you'd be nice, but you'd hit me really hard. I did, because I'm not going to pull my punches that presidents get to propose a third term for themselves. He understood that, and without animus. That doesn't mean he's not going to try to do it.
No, he knows you're not a real threat. He knows you're easily duped. You're the easily duped guy who he can just like be nice to. You know what's funny? First of all, the ego on this guy. Like, who are you, dude? Who the watches this show? That's number one. Number two, the ego on this guy is actually quite similar to Donald Trump. It's the same way that world leaders can easily dupe and trick Donald Trump by being nice to him. They will just straight up be like, yes, Mr. President, you're the best. And then that's all it takes. You're so dumb that you got finessed by a dude who's also dumb in the same exact way. Please read logs. If there is nothing absolutely banger worthy in these logs, what? Despite him hit by 2 missiles, Israeli occupation army has made a new call demanding the evacuation of the what? The last functional hospital in North Gaza is currently being bombed. Okay, man, I'll get to it in a little bit. All right. Jesus Christ, no, I'm not gonna ban him, Chad. Jeez.
At one point, I said to him, "You're scaring people. Do you really want to be scaring your own citizens so much?" And I know now you're all saying, "And what did he say to that?" Honestly, I don't remember. But it wasn't, "Okay, I'll stop." So MAGA fans, don't worry. Your boy gave me nothing. Just hats. Hats and a very generous amount of time and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. My favorite part of the whole night was we were standing in the blowjob room. We were.
Yeah. This time is not the only time you've given him a suck job, it seems. I guess he did it before in the Oval, and he's doing it again in public now.
And he said, you know, I've heard from a lot of people who really like that we're having this dinner. Not all, but a lot. And I said, same. A lot of people told me they loved it, but not all. And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like you. Don't talk, as opposed to what? Writing the same editorial for the millionth time and making 25-hour speeches into the wind? Really? That's what liberals have? He takes the piss out of everybody else?
Bill Maher's always been a smarmy douchebag, but it's really funny that no matter what he says or does, it's always in the same smarmy douchebag tone, where now he's basically describing how he clout chased the current president, and you're in the wrong for being like, hey, didn't you hate this guy, or at least claim to hate this guy for the longest time? And it's not like the guy you claim to hate has become a new person. Like, he's worse. He's worse than the last time you hated him. But now you like him? Like, you're like, oh, we gotta have another conversation. We could be friends. You think he might be doing this to save his own ass? No, man. I don't care about the saving your own ass. There is no saving your own ass. There's only, I want to be one of the people that everyone over. This isn't about ass saving. This is about killing others, okay? And at this stage, if you are doing stuff like this, especially from a position of prominence, from a position of influence, you're not doing it because you want to save your ass, okay? If you want to save your ass, you shut the fuck up. And I think there's a degree of selfishness there too, which is why I don't ever shut the fuck up. But beyond that, this is not saving your ass. This is, I want to be the one that does the pain. He's like, I will play my role as a collaborator, sir. That's what he's doing.
And we can hold ours. Okay. That's my report. You can hate me for it, but I'm not a liar. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high. Damn, missed opportunity.
You guys want to get some pushback from the audience?
A report exactly what I saw. I did it to the best of my abilities.
Counterpoint?
Can be. Yes.
Counterpoint?
Yeah.
You know, Bill, I think you're right in saying that people have made too much of this, okay? It's not the Yalta Summit. You're not Churchill. Kid Rock is not Stalin. Trump sure as shit isn't FDR, okay? So, yes, I believe too much has been made about this, but I think you've fallen into the trap. I think I represent 99% of the internet when I say this, is that you've played the game of proximity is principle. And what people are worried about is not your motivation. We believe you. We love you, Bill. Everybody loves Bill, right? So I'm not questioning your motivation. I'm questioning Trump's, okay? And if we can say that you went there in good faith, but maybe, just maybe, he wasn't there in good faith. I mean, you sold him on the Iran deal and he took it in. I mean, give me a break, okay? So the idea here is that your motivation is sound, but what's the impact? And I think a lot of people out there, fans of yours, people who love you, people who are fans of you, like me, I've been fans of you.
You don't have to patronize me, dude.
Okay.
I don't know you.
Fair enough.
I never met you.
I'm just saying that this comes from
not
a place
everybody
of
has
love.
to like it.
All I'm
That's
saying
what we
is-
said. There are people who didn't want it to happen at all. You sound like one of them. It's
No,
okay.
no.
Oh my God. He said, I don't know you, to his guest. Oh my God. Oh God, he's such a slimy douchebag. Like, this guy literally glazed him up and down. He literally was like, I love you. I've been a fan of yours in perpetuity. Everything you say and do, I hang by every word. But don't you think Trump maybe used you a little bit here? And he's like, I will your family. Like, his response there is like, you piece. Why are you here? Nobody likes you. Which, of course, brings me to my next position, or rather the first question I asked. Who's worse, Trump or Bill Maher? Obviously, Trump by power is far more consequential to the planet, but who's like a worse person individually? Well, according to Bill Maher, when Trump got criticized by Bill Maher, he was gracious. Bill Maher, on the other hand, can't even get a little bit of criticism from a dude who sucked him up and down. Clearly, Donald Trump is an infinitely more evil person than Bill Maher because of the very nature of the presidency. You become an American president, you're going to be more evil than 99.9.9999999% of society. It's crazy.
Well, people who are fans of you, like me, I've been fans of you.
You don't have to patronize me, dude.
Okay.
I don't know you.
Fair enough.
I never met you.
I'm just saying that this comes from
not
a place
everybody
of
has
love.
to like it.
All I'm
That's
saying
what we
is-
said. There are people who didn't want it to happen at all. You sound like one of them. It's
No,
okay.
no.
But did
I
you
don't
hear
not
what
mad
I
at it.
did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Like, what is the alternative to not talking? Just sit at your lunch table and don't talk to anybody.
I talked to him. I've interviewed Trump. Here's his interview.
That's not it. That's just not an interview. This was not an interview.
I agree with the principle of engagement. I'm just saying, from his perspective, you have to understand.
Yeah, it's extra funny to say that to a Washington Post reporter who has interviewed Trump. It wasn't an interview. It was a best friendship. It was the start of something beautiful. Me and Trump are besties now. And you're just a lame nerd who doesn't understand what best friendship looks like. So you're just jealous of me and Trump's best friendship. Yeah, it wasn't an interview. Did you him off at the end of your interview? Because I certainly did.
And that out there all Americans know that for him, this was a PR stunt. And in his view, you were a prop in that PR stunt. Okay?
Damn, people were clapping for him too. God damn. What happened? Bill Maher shot every audience member that clapped. To be fair, their cheers mean nothing. They cheer for everything. They're a bunch of cackling hyenas over there in the Bill Maher fan base. Oh, yeah.